Jacob is with us. Hey, Jacob, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Great, man. What's up?
Not much. So I've got a good problem, so to speak. My wife and I, we've been really good with money ever since we've been married. Never really had any debt other than our house. I had a good opportunity to make some good money the past years at work, but recently I took a promotion, which kind of came with a pay cut because there's no overtime. And so I'm trying to get our family locked down on budgeting. And I've had some resistance the past years from my wife, and it's not because she's not great with money, but she's a full-time teacher. She's mom, 4 kids, runs our house. And so the problem is she pays for a lot of our miscellaneous expenses that are not like mortgage, utilities, things of that nature. And so I need her input and her information to help make our budget work. But usually every time I need to get it, she's just so busy, it becomes a little bit of a tense, conflict between us, and it just stops. So I don't know if you had any advice on how to kind of get your wife on board when she's busy and she's great with money, but it's hard to make a budget when you can't get her half of what she's spending and try to figure that whole thing out.
She's not busy. She doesn't. She doesn't want you telling her what to do. Busy's an excuse.
Like, go on, Dave. Please expound.
She is busy, but busy's an excuse. She doesn't want you telling her what to do.
How much pay
And you
cut
told me
did you
3
take?
times how good she is with money, and yet she doesn't do a budget. So she's not good with money. That's also BS.
How much pay cut did you take? I feel like that's coming into play somehow.
Well, I worked a ridiculous amount of overtime. I'm in law enforcement, and so, as you know, the crime rate's been kind of spiking around the country. So I went from probably the 170 range because of all the overtime down to about 110.
And did y'all talk about that extensively and all the repercussions of that decision before it happened?
Oh, absolutely. I was in a very high use area of law enforcement, and so I was gone a lot. And we both kind of realized there was a certain shelf life with that. And so the promotion was the best way out of that because it came with a guaranteed pay increase, but I could be home a lot more and not, getting burnt out so much.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
So,
well, here's the thing.
And
Here's the thing. You have been handling all the money and giving her an allowance to run the household on, and she doesn't want you tinkering in her allowance. So you have to have a bigger vision to get her to speak into this, and the bigger vision includes her voice counts, her vote counts. She is not going to have things taken away from her, but she is going to hold herself accountable, and you both are going to be held accountable to a plan that you put in place to cause your future to happen. And that is simply, we're going to sit down. We're going to sit down and the kids are going to go to bed, and we're going to sit down, and we're going to turn off the television, and we're going to have, it takes about 45 minutes a week for the first 90 days, and after that it takes about 20 minutes a week to keep a budget going. So it does not take that much time. This is about more than time.
Well, and the other thing, Jacob, and I'll tell you because my husband and I do this exactly like this. We will decide in advance when we're going to have that conversation. So if he came to me about anything, when I'm in the middle of putting meals on the table or wrangling the kids, no, I'm not. That's not a good time to do that thing because it's all hands on deck when the kids are up. But if you say, hey, I'd like for us to work on the budget on Sunday night at 8, does that work for you? And she says, yes, that works for me, or no, let's do this time instead. And you literally put it on the calendar. Okay, so I just want to are we on the same page here? Sunday night at 8, the kids are down. We're gonna get the kitchen cleaned up. We're gonna sit down and work on this together. Is that good for you? Just agree on it.
Because I want your input, and because I want us to be in agreement about where our future's going. We've done a good job to date, but with this pay cut, I'm really nervous, and I need your help.
Yeah. And you plan it. Plan when you're going to have that conversation, and then you do. So then when Sunday night comes, you're like, okay, here we go. It's just agreed upon. It's not in the moment trying to squeeze in a major conversation when life can be chaotic. So just put it on the calendar. And again, like Dave said, share the why of it. Why does this matter? Why and how you value her opinion, and it's going to give a different tone to it that will hopefully make it go better.
Yeah, you guys have never agreed on your spending before. You together. You agreed on the mortgage stuff, and that she got X number of dollars after that to run the household, in quotes, whatever that meant to her, and you didn't care what it meant. And so, but now you have to care, which is good. So you're going to aim at the future at a little bit more detail and say, as a couple, we're going to set the vision for where we want to be in 10 years, and as a couple, we're going to decide what we have to do to accomplish that vision.
Yeah.
And the budget would reflect that.
And Jacob, I mean, when you're having this conversation, one other thing I'll throw in there, I know we're giving you several tips here, but ask her why she doesn't want to do it. I'm a direct person. Sometimes I'm like, if I sense resistance, I'll be like, hey, seems like you don't want to do this. Just tell me why.
Well, she's already told him she's too busy.
I know,
but that's not true.
No, but that's what I mean. Keep pressing. Say, no, like Sunday night, we're not busy or whatever time. Hey, is it because you feel like I'm taking money away? Is it because you feel like you don't get a say? Is it because you, whatever, just ask some open-ended questions. And then maybe if you peel away the layers there, the first answer you might get is she's busy. But then once you keep pressing and in a loving way, it might be like, hey, I'm really scared of what what it's going to look like, or I'm scared I'm not going to have money for. Then you start to be able to solve things at the root issue, which is actually where they need to be solved. It's not this surface level busy conversation. You actually get to what's really going on. So don't be afraid to ask some of those direct questions, but ask them in love, and then you might find the real answer so you can start to work at it at that level.
Yeah, from 30 years of doing this, my suspicion is that it feels like you're taking away some of her power.
Yeah.
Because this is an area that you're like asking to move into her territory. This has been delegated to her, and now you're actually wanting to know what's going on, and she doesn't like you having a voice in it. And because she's used to running it, and leave me alone, and I haven't done a bad job, and there's no reason. Well, there is a reason. We need to do this together.
Yeah.
And make a decision together.
Yeah.
And it can be some of the biggest fights you have if you don't get through that. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Very, very, very important. So, folks, when you learn to do a plan together, a spending plan together, that's what Rachel calls it because she likes to spend, a spending plan. That's all a budget is. You're telling your money what to do instead of wondering where it went. As a couple, when you are married and you decide together where you're doing that, you are officially deciding what's important to you. As a couple. Both of you have a say, and we join our values into one. And we say, as a couple, we think this is more important than that. We think this thing here is a big deal. We want to get both of these done, but this one's going first. And when you start making those decisions together, you create a level of unity in your relationship that you can create no other way. A budget is unique in doing that as a marriage enhancement tool. This is The Ramsey Show.